are songs that you have written. If you're not familiar with it, tell us why the title is meaningful to you. Here Comes the Sun, Toastmaster Charles Huckabee.
I'm supposed to have written the song?
Yes.
Mercy.
That's what we
That's what I think about this song. Here Comes the Sun. I don't know when that song came out, but I was a really young lad. And I really had no idea. I think this is when the Beatles were going through their hippie phase, and they were probably all sitting on the beach in some hallucinogenic state, watching the sun come up. And they were not too bellicose about writing this song. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but please throw me about. Oh.
Somewhere I Belong, by Linkin Park, Lonnie Fowler.
Funny.
Somewhere I belong. You wrote that? You wrote that. Somewhere I belong is here in this room. When I think of the sun, it's sitting over there. That's why I wrote also, Here Comes the Sun. When it was burning my eyes. Somewhere I belong. I guess I could do a Tim Taylor story about J.R. Riggs. He always wins trophies doing that. Well, I was behind a brand new Corvette this morning. I was like, what is this guy doing? He's driving like a grandma. I definitely didn't belong behind him, and I wish I just drove faster.
Don't worry, be happy. Toastmaster Carlos Benitez.
I yield because they nominated me as thought of the day
Okay.
in a bellicose fashion.
Toastmaster Chuck Keith.
Yep.
Don't worry, be happy.
Don't worry, be happy. We'll take that with the very first one about the sun rising. I've managed to watch the sun rise from when it's orange to when it burns my eyes for about 50 out of the last 60 days. No S, I really did. I did this morning. It was spectacular. It always is. It gives you a pump better than any caffeine or legal drug you can possibly imagine. It carries you through the day and it actually helps you go to sleep at night, strangely, because it resets your circadian rhythm. Give it a shot. Thank you.
All right.
Joy to the world. Toastmaster Kim McLean.
Yeah.
Jimbo!
I had something happen I got to talk about. I'm going to have to come up with a I told my wife that we need to fire the pool boy. And then she got all bellicose and said, why? Is he because he's better looking than you? I said, no. Why? Because he's nicer than you? And I said, no. She says, why? Because he's more handsome and sexy than you? And I said, no, we need to fire the pool boy because we don't have a pool. I just wanted to get that off my chest.
Good vibrations. Toastmaster Mark Ehlers.
All right.
Marky Mark.
Good vibrations. I wrote that song, I think when I was 22. I just finished my first law school exam. And I got the grade, and I actually failed. So I went over to the bar across the road. And as I was having a few cocktails, I wrote the Good Vibrations song. And it worked out pretty well because that was the last exam I ever flunked. So I don't find it real funny either. That's what happened. I was not bellicose at the time, but I should have been.
Kind and generous. Toastmaster, jogging.
Get him shy. Get him. Be shy.
Being kind and generous it has always been my goal to be of my personality. I have strived all my life to be nice and generous. So when someone call me on the phone and ask me to donate, I always say, oh yes, I'd like to donate. I think this is one way of showing generous. And also I'm nice to everyone. I have never had any rude with anyone. So, and I think most people in this world are nice and generous. So I feel I'm very thankful for all the people that have been nice and generous.
Keep your head up. Toastmaster Amira Lopez.
All right.
Keep Your Head Up by Tupac. Well, that was the time that I grew up in the 90s. That's one of my favorite songs from my time in high school because the title says it up, Keep Your Head Up. And I'm glad to be here today, even though I have to keep my head up. But we'll talk after. But yeah, Tupac was known to be bellicose.
Walking on Sunshine. Toastmaster Hannah Randolph.
Oh, Hannah.
Sunshine. Nobody be bellicose with me, but we'll work that song again.
Walking on sunshine.
Walking on Sunshine. So I know that was a song that I remember hearing when I was very little and young. I prefer Here Comes the Sun over Walking on Sunshine. I'm a huge Beatles fan. I grew up listening to them among other 60s, 70s music. And whenever I go on road trips with my boyfriend, he and I both are old souls when it comes to music, and we listen to Beatles among, Simon and Garfunkel, all of those. And I remember we were driving up in Arizona from Phoenix to Sedona and then to Flagstaff, and it's just open hills of desert. We're blaring this music with windows down. There are the occasional bellicose drivers that, zoom past us. But it's just a wonderful time being able to enjoy music, a good album, someone you love, and to enjoy the beauty of nature around you. That's one thing I love about music. I think we all can connect with.
Yeah.
Better Together. Toastmaster Josh Harris.
Better together. Well, of course it is.
Would we actually want to be apart? I hear that phrase, better together, and I think about our time a couple of years ago in the midst of that pandemic when we were all forced to be alone, right? It was for our safety or for fear or for health or something, right? And we all had to learn what it was like to be alone. So when we got out of that, we know it's to be better together. It's a great phrase, 2 little words, but think about it. Every morning, did any of you by chance have that alarm go off and think about, I want to go to Toastmasters this morning? I live pretty close here. It's not a long drive, but I can have that too. But you know why? Because it's better
Together,
here at
yeah.
Winter Park Toastmasters.
All right.
Girls just want to have fun. Toastmaster Nadine Martin.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Hey, I'm sorry, what was the title?
Girls just want to have fun.
Oh, okay. Girls just want to have fun. I forgot who actually sung that song. Oh, okay.
Cyndi Lauper.
Okay, Cyndi. 84. All right, that's before my time. But I would say that the words ring true. Anytime I go out with my girls, we just have a ball. And I don't know if any of you ladies here in this room can, agree with me. When you do go out with your girls, there's always this camaraderie when you meet other women. One of the main places that I tend to meet women, and we seem to just hit it off and become best of friends for the night, is the girls' restroom. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that. I don't know what it is about the girls' restroom, but you just meet new people and you become the best of friends. So that's it.
Let's go crazy. Toastmasters, Gio Rivera.
Gio.
Let's go crazy. I remember when I wrote that song. 1991. I was 10 years old. And I loved doing crazy things. Having fun, sleepovers, playing video games, running around playing hide and go seek. That was crazy to me. That was a good time. And there may have been another song that came out just like that, but I remember when I first wrote it. Let's go crazy, patent pending. But it just reminded me of the good times versus times where it may have felt bellicose. But I encourage everyone to find their crazy in a good way and embrace it. Thank you.
Don't stop me now, Toastmaster Annalie Russ. Annalie, sorry.
Good morning. Sorry I'm late. I was trying to bathe with this little thing on, and I guess you're not supposed to get it wet. So it took a little while. I do not remember what you said, but I'll go back to, I believe it has to do with...
Don't stop me now.
Don't stop me now. Well, I guess I can't stop now since it has to do with a song. I'm not entirely sure, but I believe it's the theme for today, so I don't really know who sung that, so I'll think of another song. I was listening the other day to some classical music at work just because I needed something to listen to, and I thought, this is really boring. So I decided to listen instead to, what was the name of the song? It's by Evanescence, Bring Me to Life, because it reminds me of, I don't know, other times. And I really like that song, and I was kind of looking for a green light. Perfect, thank you.
There you go.
What a wonderful world. DT on Jordan Kemper.
Jordan.
Wow. One of the songs that my spousal unit and I required be played when we got married was What a Wonderful World. It's pitch perfect. You get up every morning, you count your blessings. Of course, one of the greatest blessings was being able to connect with the spousal unit. And I met her at a Toastmasters meeting, so it couldn't be better. I will say, not to be bellicose, though, the very first song, Here Comes the Sun, when my former spousal unit was pregnant, we were told, this baby will never make it, you need to abort. Another doctor said, well, he might make it, you've got a 50% chance. And then, if he makes it, you've got a 50% chance that he won't be seriously brain damaged. We went ahead with the pregnancy. And his movie about my moment in Pakistan 43 years ago is on tonight at the theater.
Ray of Light by Toastmaster Patricia Shipman.
Ray of Light.
I don't know that song, I don't know who sang it, so let's talk about, Good Vibrations.
Good. You
Right, I wrote it, but I don't. So Good Vibrations, that reminds me of the term vibes, and this new terminology millennials, which I'm millennials and Gen Zs are coming up with. I don't get them. Recently, my husband asked me about a new term he heard called Riz. I don't know what that means. And I thought I was young and cool. I thought I was, but there's these new words coming out now, and I have no idea what they're about. And it gets me real bellicose. So, yeah, let's stop coming up with new terminology and stick to the old English language.
Can't stop the feeling. Toastmaster Therese Bay.
Stop this bagel. I'll go with Don't Stop Me Now. Come on, people. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. Good morning. It's a great day to be grateful. I don't know where this energy is coming from, but hey. Today I want actually to tell you a story about the first time I bellicosely stood up to my cousin. He used to just bully me. He's like, why are you always wearing shoes when you play? You can't play when you're wearing, you can't wear shoes when you're playing. It's sand. I'm like, I'm wearing my shoes. Once, twice, 3 times, he kicked me out, so I just stayed alone by myself on the corner. One day, I was very anemic, still till this day actually, growing up. My mom was giving me, iron. So she's giving me this syrup, and she's like, you're very strong. This makes you very strong. So I took it literally. Stood up to my cousin. The next time I wanted to play, he said, take off your shoes. I said, no, I'm not going to take off my shoes. He said, why? I'm like, my mom's giving me this syrup, makes me strong. I'm like, okay. He fight, I fought back. And that's not kind of fight I'm talking about. Fist fight. Boom, boom, boom. I cornered him. And he's like, all right, you can play. And I said, all right. My mom gives me this strong medication, so don't you ever talk about my shoes.
Joy in the morning. Toastmaster Nadine Martin.
You already called her. You already called her.
Okay, you did it well.
Memorable.
Taylor.
Okay. All right.
The other lady.
I get last. Where do you get up here? What was it again?
Joy in the morning.
Joy in the morning. I've been married for 40 years. When you're first married, there's a lot of joy in the morning. You get my meaning? When you get a little older, it's like, wake up, where's the Pepto-Bismol, honey? That's about all you can remember. A lot of these songs are from the 60s, and I grew up in the 60s. In 1969, I was 10 years old. I used to walk to a YMCA after school, but I had to walk through a college campus on the way there. The hippies were everywhere. The first time I ever smelled marijuana was right out there. I didn't know what it was, but it smelled really sweet. And also, the first time I ever saw a naked woman was right out there. So it was very interesting to grow up in the 60s, especially around all the hippies. I have to relate one thing. Carson, was just very ill. And I went out to visit him one day, and he's got to go through some rehab. He was being very bellicose that morning and difficult to work with. And his physical therapist said, just help him count again. He can't even concentrate. I said, Carson, can you count for me? He goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I said, can you count higher than that? He goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Carson, I'm so glad you're much better. Thank you.
Yes. Lovely Day by Toastmaster Morris McNitt.
Yes.
It is a lovely day, isn't it?
Isn't it?
It's a fantastic day to be here together. It's too bad
that I am not a bellicose type of person. That I'm too easygoing sometimes. I let the world run over me. Unfortunately, I make a pretty big speed bump. Slows the world down. I'm a pretty good sized speed bump, but other than that, I don't know. I'm just a good person, and I like people like you. Like you. I love being here. I love sharing thoughts. Well, even you. Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, I don't know about you, but I'm allergic to being bellicose this early in the morning, so thank you, fellow Toastmasters, for your uplifting answers.